So I often get asked, hey Becky, what's the best exercise to heal the diastasis recti? Then I ask, what exercise are you doing? Oh, I'm doing leg slide, bridges, modified side plank, and okay, and how you do, and how do you feel with doing them? I'm like, oh, it's okay, not too bad. So, but the thing is, I want you to understand that it's not a matter of what kind of exercise that you're doing, it's whether this exercise is suitable for you or not. And how are we able to tell whether this exercise is suitable for you or not? Let's take a look. I'm going to give you 8 tips here, and then you can help you decide, okay, whether this exercise is good for me to help me progress and improve my diastasis, okay? So the first one is, are you doing most of your exercises on the floor lying on your back? Like the traditional, you would find all kinds of exercise. Okay, I'm doing on the back, I'm gonna do bridges, I'm gonna do leg slide. Okay, that's okay, but how are you going to execute this? This exercise is important. So if you're lying on your back, and if you like, if I am lifting my leg, okay, let's say, so if I'm lifting my leg all over the places like this. How are you going to engage that core? Because your glute is so weak. And if you are, let's say if you're doing a bridge, so let's lift your pelvic floor, and then it's like, and this is bulging or doming out. How are you going to heal your diastasis, right? So, and then, so if you are breathing, the second tip is, if you are doing your exercises and you're not breathing and you're not exhaling, engaging that transversus abdominal muscles, that's not correct. So with the breathing, are you breathing into your chest and shoulders and your neck like this? Or are you breathing into all belly? So those are 2 different type of breathing, and they're not good for your diastasis. We need to work on breathing into 360 degree, where it's your chest, your side of your ribs, the diaphragm, and your belly is all moving at the same time. So this is called a 360 degree breathing, and you need to master it with that good inhale in order to have good exhale. When you're exhaling, you need to engage that transversus abdominal muscles. It's not sucking, it's not using your upper hips, sucking your belly in. We are engaging from that lower core muscles. So if you are just sucking in, so this is sucking, right? But if I am engaging, I am lifting from my pelvic floor and engage that core and bring that belly buttons toward my spine. So there's a difference between sucking and engaging. Sucking is using mostly your upper abs, and engaging your TVA is when you're really lifting that pelvic floor and draw the belly button in. I go a lot more details in this on my Instagram account. I have all kinds of information, so you can definitely follow me to find out more. It's BeckyChoi_. And the fourth one is, we touched point on a little bit earlier when I was demonstrating on the floor, is whether you see doming or bulging in that midline. And that's really important, because that is telling me your tension, whether your tension is working or not. That deep, that connective tissue, that fascia right here in the middle, this is where your gap, you feel your gap, where you can feel the depth of your DR. We need to make sure this work. And if you are doming or bulging, that means there's no tensions there. You're not able to pull the tons, right? So that's not good either. And the fifth thing is whether you are feeling like you're doing anything. So if you're doing on the floor, if you're just leg sliding, you're bridging all day, and you feel like you can handle it, why are you still continue to do this? You need to move on and do something different. Maybe perhaps go on your side and do something, or go on your hands and knees and do something else. You need to progressively overload your core. And the sixth thing is, do you feel like your back is arching on the floor or not? Like, do you feel that when you're exercising, do you feel like you have good alignment? And here's a really quick example I wanted to show you. A lot of the time when we are on the floor, because it's easier for me to demonstrate, you most likely have a gap like this if you're not mindful. You most likely are arching up. This will flare out your ribs and opening up that core here, letting it hang out. What you need to do is with any kind of exercise, you need to make sure you're bring your hips, bring your pelvis forward towards you. So this is on the floor. And if that's not enough, what you can do is use a yoga block, put it in here on the back of your neck. So your ribs are down, your back is on the floor, everything is in line. Your ribs, your diaphragm, everything, you're able to engage, and then you're able to do knee lift, right? And we don't want it to see tilting back and forth, or like if you're lifting and this is like arching, that's not good. Okay, make sure your back is aligning with your whole body, and we need to make sure that it's just that neutral curve in the back and not arching up, and that's why you get back pain. And the seventh thing is, do you feel heaviness on your pelvic floor? Do you feel like when you're doing certain type of exercises, let's say you're doing squats, lunges, do you feel heaviness on your there's pressure on your vagina, on your pelvic floor? And that's not a good sign. We need to make sure there's no pressure, because what happens when you have too much pressure? It will lead to prolapses, it will lead to incontinence, and you don't want that while you're trying to heal your diastasis recti, right? So make sure if that's the case, you probably need to engage your core more. If that doesn't work, that exercise is too hard for you. And the eighth thing, the last thing is, are you referring to the narrowing of the gap for improvements? I have seen people with one finger but 2 knuckle deep. How deep? Like, what does it mean? It's pretend this is my belly, okay? And if I am sinking my fingers into that belly, this much gap, this much depth is able to sink into my belly as I'm doing a diastasis recti check. This much, and it's just 1 finger or 2 finger at the most on the width. But this is telling me how squishy, how much tension, and how severe your diastasis recti is, because that is telling me you are not able to manage that core pressure. That's why there's nothing there. It's underneath. It's just like you're not able to generate tensions to be able to make it taut. So you cannot just referring to narrowing of that gap to say, hey, I dropped from 4 fingers to 2 fingers now. Yay, I'm improving. But that's not the case, and that's why you're probably still wondering why you still have that belly. And that's because you need to work on bringing that depth to as shallow as possible. So I refer to knuckles. 1 knuckle, 2 knuckles, sometimes 2.5 a bit knuckles, or a nail. Your goal is to bring it to a half a nail, and that is really good. Okay, that's your goal, and not referring to the narrowing of the gap. So I hope this video makes sense. I hope this video is helpful for you. You give you some guidance in terms of whatever exercises that you're following, you're doing right now. Are you doing them correctly? Are you being purposeful to heal your diastasis recti, or you're just trying to follow whatever everybody's doing? Because that's not the case. You cannot just follow what Nancy or Sally or Ashley is doing, because their diastasis recti is not the same as you. You need to work on something specifically for you that is going to progressively overload, challenge your core, and make you move forward. And that's how you're gonna get results. Okay, so for more information, for more resources on how to heal your severe, moderate, severe diastasis recti, check out my Instagram, BeckyChoi _BECKYCHOI_. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.